Sure, it takes its precious time, but it's got rights, and so have I. I turn my head to the sky, focus one ball at a time. I do not like the little things, under my tongue, but sleep. It couldn't be a longer time. I feel like I'm walking blind. I have no arrival time. There are no lights.
What is going on, my people? It is your boy Sven D bringing you another edition of Subscriber Sunday for the subs, by the subs. Except on this channel, we don't call them subs or subscribers. We call them the Sven D Army because collectively we are much more. You guys are much more than some fucking number at the top of a YouTube channel. At least to me you are anyways. I know 97% of the commentators don't feel that way. But I can promise you guys, keep coming back. You're going to be coming to a commentator that knows you guys as more than a number. But anyways, we're playing some Dead Island. I know some of you guys are probably like, what the fuck, this is in Battlefield 3. But yeah, actually gonna be switching stuff up. I'm not gonna stop posting Battlefield 3 because that's the greatest game that was ever made. But you know, I went to GameStop, picked up Operation Raccoon City. I rebought Dead Island after I traded in, and I picked up Army of Two just because that's a PlayStation classic in my eyes. But enough of that. I'll tell you guys about that kind of stuff in another video. We're gonna hop right into these questions. I'm gonna get through as many as I possibly can. The first one is from the Awesome Gamers 100, and he asks, what is your favorite Call of Duty game? Now, there is a close tie between Call of Duty World at War and Call of Duty Black Ops. However, I'm gonna have to go Call of Duty World at War. One being that it is the first game to bring us zombies, and second off, I would have to go Hit Detection. Hit Detection of Black Ops was so bad, it was almost unbearable at times. And Call of Duty World at War, it's not really supported too much anymore because it's an older game, but, you know, even going back and playing it every now and then when I don't get into hacked lobbies, I still enjoy that game. I haven't traded it in, and I definitely will never trade that in. It also has a badass campaign. So definitely Call of Duty World at War. The next one is from Austin Luthi. If the new PlayStation is not backwards compatible, he's referring to the PlayStation 4, which is due out in the next few years, does not play used games, and requires you to be online just to play on the console, would you even consider buying it? You know, I probably would eventually, but probably not right off the get-go. And that's why I'm hoping the next generation of consoles don't come too soon, because, I mean, really, there's so many great games coming out for them still. I don't see a need for the next generation of consoles yet, and especially for reasons like that, it's gonna absolutely suck. It sucks not being able. I have so many PlayStation 2 games that I just had. They have so much sentimental value that I don't want to trade them in, and it's like I can't play them on my PlayStation 3. I could on my old one, the fat one, but on the slim one I can't, which kind of sucks. You know, especially as far as having to be online and only offering multiplayer games. I'm sure some people will be fine with that, but me, I enjoy single player. I enjoy, you know, secondary modes like a Spec Ops mode or a survival mode or a zombies mode. So I definitely wouldn't want a system that just played multiplayer games. The next one is from Austin Luthi, yet again. Is this about right? College, the place where you work your ass off for a piece of paper that says you can put up with bullshit for 4 years? Absolutely. But the thing with it is, you really want to, especially for the younger generation, the people my age and younger, you need college if you really want to be successful in life. With that said, I know plenty of people that, you know, didn't decide to go the college route that are far more successful than the average person. So it's not saying that you can't be successful without it, but depending on the field of expertise or the career path you choose, college is probably going to be a necessity. I mean, the one thing people will never be able to take from you is knowledge, and you can never have too much of it. I strongly encourage any and all of you, whether you're 14, 13, 12 years old, or if you're 27, 37, 47, it don't matter. It's never too late to go to college, and it's always going to benefit you. There's no downfall from going to college, other than the fact that you got to pay like $90,000 a day to go to it. The next one is from Weapon Gaming. Wow, this is a long one. I'm going to read part of this. Do you feel that there's a lot of followers these days compared to earlier generations? I would say a number of followers, no. When I started watching YouTube videos, there was nowhere near what there was today. The hugest channels out there had 20 or 30,000 subs. I'll put it this way. If you had 50 or 60k subs when I started watching YouTube, that would have been the equivalent of being as big as White Boy nowadays. So, I mean, that shows you how much the gaming community has really grown, without a doubt. He continues to say, to me, it seems people will follow whatever is trending, but never do research on their own. Definitely agree with you. I think there are a lot more followers than there are leaders. You see that with a lot of gaming commentators especially. I mean, you know, Woody could go on and say that, you know, this is just an example, this never happened, maybe never happened, I'm just using him as an example. Say Woody came on and said, you know, it's good to murder chickens with toenail clippers without having, you know, their own morals and ethics and information, facts, or equated into their thoughts and stuff like that. Basically, what I'm trying to say that I'm fucking too stupid to say is that a lot of these people in the gaming community on YouTube are very young and they're very easy to influence, and I think that a lot of the bigger commentators take way too much advantage of that. So if you are one of those younger people, think for yourself, have a mind for yourself. You're not in the wrong if you agree or disagree with the commentator, no matter who they are, what they're doing, what they're talking about. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. The next one is from Ryza HSX. He has a scenario. Aliens invaded our planet and kidnapped the Sven D army. They will agree to let them free if you would either bring world peace, end all crime, kill Joseph Kony, or bring blacks, whites, Asians, and gays together to live in a society. I really consider the first one, bringing world peace, and the last one about bringing the different races and the people that have certain sexual orientations together. I consider those kind of being in the same category. So I'm going to say bring world peace, because if you bring world peace, you're going to solve all crime. You probably won't have to kill Joseph Kony because that wouldn't be peaceful. He's just gonna go about his day watching The Wizard of Oz, planting sunflowers, that kind of thing, and everyone's gonna live in peace and harmony. Which problem, in my opinion, is the worst? I would say the last one, relating to racism, to bias, everything. It's disgusting. It's not needed. It is totally unnecessary, and I think that's one of the greatest crimes that humanity commits against itself on a daily basis. He also finishes, I like pancakes. Do you like pancakes? Fucking love pancakes. The next one is from Gun Them Down 21. What would you recommend for a starter on YouTube? A Roxio or a Dazzle? If a Dazzle, which one? That's kind of funny because we were talking about that in the podcast. That was a really good point that you just brought up, and I always recommended people to use a Dazzle. If you want to go back on my channel and look at the very first Call of Duty video I ever put up, it's the second video on my channel right now. It is a Modern Warfare 2 gameplay. Watch that video and watch a Roxio capture card video. Tell me which one you think's better. I had people that were convinced that I used an HD PVR because I tweaked the render settings so good on my Dazzle. You know, like with me, I know a lot about render settings, and if you guys ever need help with that, please feel free to come to me. But if you spent $50, $60, $70 on a Dazzle as opposed to, you know, $220 on an HD PVR, I could get you some nice looking quality. And if you're just a casual YouTuber and you're not looking to get into this, you know, seriously, and maybe post a couple times a month or something, totally recommend the Dazzle, the Dazzle or the Roxio. But if it went head to head, I would say this. The Dazzle I got was $60. It was the best one. It was the black one, and for some reason I can't recall off the top of my head. It's the one Insane IX getting. And the Roxy was $100, so I mean, you're only spending $40 more to get very, very good quality, but it's still not true HD. But I mean, I think that the Roxio wouldn't be a bad buy at all. I would say it depends on your financial situation. If you have the money, go with the Roxio. You know, I heard the editing software and everything with it's really good, and I heard it's very, very user friendly. The Dazzle, same thing. You get Pinnacle Studio, which is great editing software for beginners. I can tell you from personal experience. So I would say, you know, if you have the money for both of them, go with whatever one you feel is the best. Do your research, watch videos on both of them, do what you gotta do. I can definitely give you guys all the information you need on the Dazzle. I fully endorse them. People say you can't grow. I got my first 500 subs with the Dazzle, so if they, say that shit to you, be like, well, I know a dude that made some progress and was doing things with the Dazzle. We were doing things with the Dazzle. End of story. The next one is from Kasim J. Wanna Bite. Hey, I'm 14 and a couple of months from going into high school, and I have a problem. My parents are overly protective and they won't let me cuss. And when I say curse, they won't even let me say the word crap or freaking, while my friends rattle off every word there is. And they won't let me watch movies that almost every one of my friends have seen, like Napoleon Dynamite, The Hangovers, etc. What should I do? Maybe sit down with your parents and talk to them in a calm, collective manner. Throwing a fit, as your parents would put it, and kind of giving them attitude isn't going to get you anywhere. Try to explain to them, Mom, Dad, I'm mature. I understand that these are just movies. I do feel that I'm mature enough to be exposed to movies such as these ones that you named off to me. And as far as cussing, cussing's definitely not a good thing to do in any situation. I would just, not worry about that. You're going to be old. You're going to be 18 years old, 21 years old soon, man. You're 14. That's right around the corner. You'll be able to swear whenever you want, whenever you want. If you do it, don't do it around your parents or anybody that's going to get you in trouble. He has the second part of the question. If you had a kid about to go into high school right now, what would you allow them to do or not to do? That's actually really good. I'll say this, I would be flexible on my kid, but this is the main factor. How you are raised really affects how you would raise your children. My parents were very lenient. I watched Child's Play, which is with Chucky the Doll. I watched that at 4 years old, and this is why parents don't want their kids watching this, and I can tell you this from first-hand experience. I watched Child's Play when I was 4 years old for the first time, and I had the same nightmare for 4 years straight. It was horrible. I woke up, drenched in sweat, heart racing, scared shitless every night. So I'm sure your parents are just doing it because they have the best intentions in mind for you. I would try to not get mad at them. They're doing it because they love you, man. But like I said, try to sit down and talk to them calmly, collectively, and see what happens. What's the worst that's going to happen? You'll be in the same position you are now. The next one is from DKing1908. What do you think about Hutch leaving Machinima and quitting YouTube? I personally was crushed when I heard the news. Hutch was and is one of the best. He's the last of a dying breed. And I think you put that very well, DKing. However, I would say he's the last of a dying breed because he is so unique and original. You won't find anyone else like him. But people like Blame Truth, C-Nanners, Wings of Redemption, those four were some of the original people in the gaming community on YouTube. There was one, maybe 2, 3 others, but it wasn't much more than them. And no, it wasn't White Boy, it wasn't Woody, it wasn't half these guys you see nowadays, like Syndicate. None of those guys were around when I started watching YouTube. I think it sucks, and I think that, I don't want to say it's going to be, you could look at it like this. It's the end of an era for Machinima and YouTube's gaming community, or you could say it's the beginning of a new era. He is opening up an opportunity for somebody else to step and take his spot. So I think there's both positive and negative sides to it, but that's a great question. It's a huge topic in the gaming community right now. The next one is from Deucex Media Up 27A. Says, things with the actress are getting better. I give her a wink now and then just to say hi. How to improve on it? Just keep doing whatever you're doing, man. If they're getting better, keep doing what you're doing. Don't change a thing. Don't try to be overly... Don't try to pressure her too much into anything. But at the same time, don't try to lay back and be, I would say procrastinate on it too much, because you don't want to let her slip away. Just do what you feel is comfortable and what the situation calls for. And he says, just heard from some sources that someone asked my ex out to prom. Both feel nervous yet happy. I don't have to feel so much weight on my shoulders. Should I act on it? Maybe let it be. If you were to act on it, I would say act on it in a positive manner. Maybe ask her, say, oh yeah, I heard you're going to the prom with so-and-so. Oh, okay, you are. Hope you guys have a good time. If you need anything, I'll be there for you. Feel free to give me a call. You know, it's always good to try to be on good terms with as many people as possible. That's how I always carried myself throughout high school, and it turned out pretty good for me. I got a lot of good friends having that kind of attitude. The next one is from Austin Luthi. What is your worst nightmare? And I actually just mentioned it not too long ago about the Child's Play thing. I had the same dream about Chucky the doll where I would be laying in my bed. My bed would raise like 40 feet into the air. I would see Chucky's shadow in my kitchen where my bedroom came off when I lived in my first house. And he would do like some kind of like somersault cartwheel into my bedroom. And he would be standing at the foot of my bed, which was like 50 feet tall. I would fall off, and at the last second, or no, I would fall off, I'd land, and he would end up being on the top of my bed somehow. And I remember I always look at my nightlight in this dream, because I was 4 years old at the time. I'd look at my nightlight, and I'd look up, and Chucky would be jumping down at me with his knife ready to go into my fucking face. And as soon as that happened, I woke up. And this happened for like 4 years in a row. It was absolutely insane. The next and last one this week is from Snipe You 15545. If you could add one more feature to Battlefield 3, what would it be? You know, I guess if we can go with something that may not be realistic, this is something that we also discussed in the podcast earlier. It would be to add more players to the server. I think that it would be awesome to play 64-man Conquest. However, Isaiah brought up, you know, is it possible? I heard it's going to happen. It's not going to happen, people. That goes back. That goes really into the coding of the game itself, and that's not something you can just fix in a patch, to my understanding. And even if they could, the consoles are just not built to withstand that many people, especially with the engine that Battlefield 3 runs and how powerful it is. There's no chance in hell it would be able to work on consoles, but maybe in the future. But anyways, guys, this episode is running pretty long. We're just eclipsing the 17-minute mark, so I'm going to wrap it up. I got questions from Reckless, 122874, Flat Biscuit, Mugen, I believe I'm pronouncing that right, The Vagrant, aka OJ of 360, and Pyro. I will get to your guys' question next week. Make sure to send me some PMs titled Subscriber Sunday if you want to be a part of next week's episode. And until then, people, it is your boy Sven D, and I will catch y'all later. Peace!